Hello and welcome to the B Team. We have another Session 0 character creation. If you were watching live from LionCon, you might have noticed that Jack was ruminating on the possibilities of making his B Team character. And Jack, you had decided that you wanted to make a monk. And a monk, a martial artist capable of, kind of being silent and humble, and yet when necessary can step in and utilize his powers. Okay.
Yeah, that's
one of the things about a monk is that they rely on wisdom. Wisdom's an important thing. Wisdom's also related to your perception skills and your ability to use insight to detect someone's motive, to detect if they're lying and stuff like that. And there really isn't a character who has strong wisdom skills in the B Team. So somebody who can actually be aware and avoid getting caught off guard.
Yep.
And somebody who can perceive and somebody who, that kind of stuff, is going to be extremely valuable on the B Team. Now, the other thing too is we didn't get to backgrounds, but I was showing you some background options. And it looks like maybe you dig the Outlander option.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay.
To be honest.
So what we'll do is I'll start filling in some things here. We have the most exciting thing to do, which is roll your character.
Yep.
So the way that I do things is I have you roll, and then we assign things, okay? And in my world, I have a system where I have you roll 4d6, and then you take the best 3. Out of the 6 rolls, you can choose, out of all 6 rolls, you can choose 2 of them where you can invoke re-rolling ones. So let me give you an example. Grab some 6-sided dice. Grab 4 6-sided dice from that box.
4?
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so this won't count. I'll roll these. But let's say that I roll and I get, a 5, a 2, and a 1. I could decide, all right, I'm gonna re-roll that 1. So now it's a 3. So it's a 13 instead of a 12. Now, if I roll, 5, 3, 3, 2, I don't have any 1s to re-roll. So I'm just going to take the highest 3. See how that works?
Yep.
Okay. So you are going to roll. You're going to roll right here so the people at home can see. Dave, can you see that from there? Yeah, okay. So you're going to roll. I'll write down your rolls, the exact rolls that you make. And then after you've rolled all 6 times, you could decide which ones you want to go back and re-roll that had 1s in them.
All right.
Okay, go ahead. All right, so 6, 4, 4, 3. That's good. What do you got there? 5, 3, 2, 1. 5, 3, 2, 1. So there might be one that you want to re-roll. We'll see. That would definitely be one you want to re-roll, right? Yeah. So 6, 3, 1, 1. Okay, go ahead. 4, 4, 1, 1. Wow.
4, 4, 1, 1.
Jack, here's what I'm going to do. Pick up the dice, scoop them in your hands, and talk to the dice. I want you to enact your monk powers, Jack. I want you to command that the dice obey you.
Channel my energy.
Yes, and be grateful for their wisdom and their channel your energy. Use your chi to roll higher, Jack. Yes. That is
6, 2, 1, 1.
Really not much better, Jack. So 6, 2, 1, 1.
I
all right.
really tried.
Here's all 6 of the rolls, Jack. Now, some people would say that those are the most horrible rolls that they've ever seen, but they're not, Brian, are they? No,
I mean,
they're not.
I didn't get all
Jack,
ones.
I want you to hand me the large vat of dice, the whole box. I'm going to do something that I very rarely do. Jack, when I was a boy, and maybe you held this belief too, when I was a small child, I believed that I could actually do magic.
Yeah?
I believed too much in my own powers. So sometimes what I would do is close my eyes, and then I'd press my hands up against my eyeballs really hard, almost to the point where it hurt. And what I would see is like a panorama of colors, right? And in my childlike imagination, I thought that I was summoning the powers of the gods. I was like 4 or 5.
Okay. All right.
Now, later I would realize that these are called phosphenes, and it's basically I was pressing on the optic nerve so hard that I don't know what that's probably why I'm so blind now, Jack. But anyway, I'm going to actually invoke the phosphenes. I'm going to call upon the gods right now, and I'm going to select a set of dice. Red, yellow, what is this? What do I have here? I don't know what I have. Are there 4 dice in there or more?
There are 4.
All right, take them before I open my eyes.
Thank you.
Now you put them in your hands and you roll them, warm them up, Jack. All right, now you're going to re-roll 3 of these rolls. Go ahead.
All right. 4, 4, 2, 1.
Okay, not much
We're
better.
making it. 5, 4, 1, 1. So one more.
Mm-hmm. Now we're getting somewhere.
6, 5, 3, 1.
All right, Jack. Now between these, this is
Yeah.
one that you can keep, right? That's a 14. I would say re-roll this one. So re-roll one die. Hold on, don't use the same dice to re-roll. That never works. These are your lucky re-roll dice, my friend.
A reroll.
So re-roll one of those for this set, the 6, 5. See?
6.
So that's your 6, that's your re-roll, so that's a keeper. And then for your other one, I would recommend the 6-3 or the 6-2.
What?
The 6-3 has 2 1s. The 6-2, yeah. So re-roll the 6-3. So you're re-rolling both of those die.
All right.
Now re-roll the 1. So leave the 4. Re-roll the 1. There you go. So
5, 4.
that becomes 5-4. 6-3, 5, 4. So that. And then basically you're going to bite the bullet and just take the other. So 5 and 4. That's a 10. And then 1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, that's 11, right? Is it not?
That's a 10.
That's 11.
No, you only
Oh,
take the best 3
my
of the
bad,
dice.
my bad.
So that would be a 9. That's a 10, but that's still good. Or a 10 here. So the 10s. Okay, so that's what you have. So you have a 14. You have a 10. You have a 15. You have a 10. You have a 10. And you have a 17. Okay, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So those are your rolls. Okay, 6 of them. Now we'll assign them in a minute, but let's think about this. What do we know about a monk? Monks need to have good wisdom
Yeah.
and good dexterity. When you make a human variant, that gives you the opportunity to have a feat, which is pretty cool. So while we're making this character, let's take a look at the human variant options, because not only do you get a feat, but you also get some other options. So you gain a proficiency in one thing of your choice. We'll look at that after we add in the backgrounds and all that stuff. You gain a feat, and then your ability score increases. So you get 2 different ability scores of your choice that increase.
All right.
So I think the 2 that you'd want to increase would be your 15, which would become a 16, and your 17, which would become an 18, okay? So let's go ahead and add these up. What I guess the question is as a monk, you're going to use your dexterity for your attacks. Wisdom eventually. So the question is whether to put the 17, which would become an 18, into dex. I think it could, because then at 4th level you'd get an ability score increase anyway. So that 16 could become an 18. Okay, so what we're gonna do,
That 18 could become 20.
that's true. Ooh, that's raw. so let's think about it like this. As a monk, you're relying on a couple things. So your unarmed attacks are effectively dexterity based. You can use dexterity instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes and monk weapons. So that also affects your armor class, and because monks have the unarmored defense, you add your dex plus your wisdom.
Okay.
So effectively, I think the handyman's right. I think we put the 18 into dex, and at 4th level that becomes a 20, and the 15, which becomes a 16, into wisdom.
Okay.
Now you might be like, 4th level? That's right, Jack. You were actually, it's part of your background story that we're developing.
Mm-hmm.
You'll dig it. But there's a reason why you're going to be starting a level higher than everyone, and it'll be part of your backstory as well. Okay, so your wisdom is placed, your dexterity is placed. What else do we have to work with? You have a 14 and then 3 10s. Jack, I'm going to recommend a 14 in Constitution because it gives you a hit point bonus.
All right.
Anytime you can advance your health, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
It means that you have average intelligence and charisma, which is perfectly okay, and average strength. So you're kind of slight of build, but you're absurdly fast.
All right.
Okay? Now, monks get 1d8 hit points per level plus their constitution bonus. So normally at 1st level you get the max plus your con, right? In my game system you get that all the way through level 5. So 8 plus 2 for con bonus is 10 times 5. So you have a starting hit points of 50, 50, which is pretty darn good. You have a starting armor class of 18. Actually, not start, but at 5th level, your armor class is 18. You have an initiative bonus of plus 5 for right now. You have saving throws in strength and dexterity. So that means you gain your proficiency bonus. Your 5th level proficiency bonus is plus 3. So we'll add in all those numbers a little bit later. Jack, talk to me about your character. How do you envision your character being? What do you envision your character acting like in certain situations, et cetera, et cetera?
So, I mean, I kind of see my characters similar to me.
Okay.
But, I mean, well, generally, my character's going to be pretty quiet and, I mean, part of the group, but not, like,
Always slightly
super,
apart.
like, yeah, I always a little bit back or a little bit ahead. But I would say pretty good in combat. And that's about it.
We talked about the Outlander. The Outlander gives you a skill proficiency in athletics and survival, which makes you a relatively self-sufficient person. It also gives you a tool proficiency in one type of musical instrument, Jack.
Yeah?
What do you think about that? Why is that camera moved? Should that be moved? What's happening?
Karafa moved it.
Okay. So what do you think?
Instrument?
Yeah. Now you're a monk.
Mm-hmm.
What do you imagine?
I don't know. What are some monk related?
Like I'm picturing like a pan flute or like a wood
Yeah,
like.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah. I think pan flute it is.
I don't know what that is that I'm doing right there. It's not a
That's
flute
not
at
how
all.
Pan flute.
Yeah. So that would be cool, right? That would be fun. All right, so you get athletics and survival. We're going to mark that on your sheet, on your character sheet, athletics and survival. You're proficient. And then, Jack, what we're going to do is go down to these other languages and proficiencies, and we'll say tool proficiencies, flute. Languages, one of your choice.
The options.
So you
What are
speak
some-
Common and what? Elvish, Dwarvish, or those would be the Draconic for those of the Dragonborn type. I'm trying to think of what else is in the region where you are. Like, what would make sense?
I guess I don't have a lot of preference. Maybe what's
Like,
most
language, Nael is a language giant. I don't know what's in the region there.
what's like most gonna benefit me.
Well, I'm also trying to think of like if you would have realistically studied something specific at the monastery where you trained prior to
What
leaving.
are you building?
A regular monk,
Yeah.
Which way?
the vanilla one.
Wave
I
the
forgot.
open hand.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, monks also get you get an additional type of artisan's tool or musical instrument. So you get the musical instrument proficiency from being an outlander, but you also get another artisan tool. So I'll give you those options as well.
Yes, it gets a bonus language for being a human.
Yes.
So 3 languages.
So how about Elvish and Draconic?
Sure.
Okay. We'll come back to these things. And you could always change these things, but
Yeah.
I'm just kind of filling in some of the blanks. All right, so Jack, as an outlander, you also get the fantastic feature of the Wanderer, which we'll add to your sheet. And that's where you kind of have an excellent memory for maps, geography. You can always recall the general layout of terrain, settlements, and all that kind of stuff. So in addition, you could find food and fresh water for yourself and up to 5 other people each day, provided that the land offers berries, small game, water, and so forth. So that's super helpful from a survival kind of being on the road thing, which the B team will be doing quite a bit.
Yeah.
That'll keep you guys alive. All right, so let's talk about your monkish path and other abilities. So you get to choose 2 skills between acrobatics, athletics, history, insight, religion, and stealth. Now you already get athletics and survival. Acrobatics is kind of if you want to be the monk that you probably picture, where you're doing like absurd things and like wall running and doing backflips, and then you probably want to take our acrobatics as one of those.
I would start with Outlander skills.
Yeah, I added those in.
Oh, okay, cool.
Athletics and survival. Then you got acrobatics, then one more. So insight is the one I was telling you about, where you can like read people's motives and see if people are lying or if they're hostile or friendly or that kind of stuff. I would recommend that because you have a good wisdom and it's based on wisdom.
Yeah.
And then with your human variant, you get to pick one more proficiency. You could take perception. So both of those are based on perceptive kind of abilities and skills.
Yeah, let's do
Now,
both of those.
even without proficiency, you are still going to be stealthier than most people for several reasons. Number one, you don't need to wear armor. Number two, you will have a 20 dexterity starting off. So even though you don't have proficiency in stealth, you'll have a +5 to your rolls,
All right.
which is pretty phenomenal. But being proficient in both perception and insight is going to mean you have your wisdom bonus plus your proficiency bonus with those. So you're kind of like the senses of the group, right? Like you're going to be the most attuned to what's around you, both in your like environment and potential threats, but also people. Like
All right.
you're the human lie detector of the group. All right, so there's a bunch of other powers that you're going to get, including the unarmored defense, like I said. So that makes your armor class 10 plus your dex plus your wisdom, which is a amazing 18 armor class. You get martial arts. As I mentioned, your unarmored attacks use your dex instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls. The cool thing about that is that at 5th level, which is where you are starting, your martial arts is 1d6.
Okay.
So if you hit something, you'd roll 1d6 and you'd add in your +5 for dexterity to your damage roll. So just give us a sample roll. So even if you roll the 1, Jack, you're still going to do 6 damage with just a fist, right?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you get your unarmored movement, monastic tradition, which is your way. You get to the deflect missiles option. You get slow fall, and then at 5th level you get an extra attack and the option to invoke stunning strike. Okay.
All right.
So you're gonna read all these. I'll have them printed out, and
Yeah.
you'll read them before we play your prelude adventure. But basically, it gives you faster movement. So your unarmored movement that you get at 2nd level increases your speed by 10 feet. So you're a human. You already have a speed of 30. Now your speed is 40.
All right.
Okay, so that becomes significant with some things like running away from people or catching people that have run away from you, that kind of stuff. Deflect missiles is really cool. You can use your reaction to deflect or catch a missile when you are hit by a ranged weapon attack. Somebody fires an arrow or a crossbow at you, or throws a spear or a dagger or a dart. You can do like the ninja, like, and either like
Send it
deflect
back.
it, or if you roll high enough, you could actually catch it and snatch it out of the air and then throw it back. Now it costs you 1 of your key points to make that range attack, but you can literally like do the catch and throw back immediately as a reaction, which is kind of
Alright.
dope. Like I said, at 4th level you get the ability score improvement, which I already applied to your dexterity. At 4th level you also get slow fall. So this is another cool thing. You can use your reaction to when you fall, to reduce any falling damage you take by an amount equal to 5 times your monk level. So at 5th level, that's 25. So that's how many feet, how many stories? Is it 1d6 per 10 feet?
It's 1d6 per 10 feet above 10 feet.
Okay. That's pretty huge. That's like falling off a 5th story building. Like, I'm going to just jump off the temple and you'll probably live. Like, that's a pretty amazing power,
Yeah.
right? At 5th level, you get an extra attack. So you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Now, monks get an attack and a unarmed attack every round as it is. So this means you can have 2 attacks and an unarmed attack. Or is it 2 attacks and 2 unarmed attacks?
What? Repeat that? Sorry.
When you use the attack action with an unarmed strike or a monk weapon on your turn, you can make 1 unarmed strike as a bonus action.
Right.
Okay, so monks they can use the bonus action to have that 2nd attack. This extra attack that you get at 5th level is a full attack. It's not
Right.
a
It's
bonus
only for
action.
it's only for the attack action.
Right.
So you get 2 action attack. Your attack action would be 2 attacks.
And then you can use your bonus.
action would be your offhand, your martial arts.
Right, so you could be like weapon, sidekick, or punch, elbow smash, basically,
Alright.
which is pretty cool. The last thing that you get at 5th level is you can interfere with the flow of ki in an opponent's body. When you hit another creature with a melee weapon attack, you can spend 1 point to attempt a stunning strike. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the end of your next turn, which is pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like stunning,
Yeah.
2-finger stun strike. And you could kind of make up how you use that stuff, but that's a pretty cool thing. Your pool, by the way, it's hard for me to say ki because I know it's chi, but do people say chi, or is that just me?
I think it's 2 different things. I think chi is specific to a certain field of martial arts, and ki is a more generic term.
Truth. All right, you get 5 key points, which is pretty cool. And then you can regain those after you take a short or long
Stuff with
rest.
them too, so you can use
Yeah,
a bonus action. You can use a bonus action dodge with key points.
right. So there's these 3
Yeah.
powers: Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, and Step of the Wind are all things that you can activate with
Alright.
those points. So like this gives you more attacks. That gives you like supreme amounts of defense. This gives you that extra burst of ability to get away from someone, like to disengage or dash.
Okay.
So there's a lot of like little things that you can use to harness your chi and activate it. Knowing how this character plays out with all these powers isn't that hard. It's a page.
Yeah.
I mean, It's a page and change. But you can very easily figure out how all that works and harness all that.
All right.
Okay, so the only thing that we don't have is your character's name, Jack, which you must think about. My only rule in my games is that it cannot be a silly name. So it can't be like Chicken McNuggets.
Yeah.
So
Can I take some time to think about it?
you can take some time to think about it, Jack.
We
We
release
will
the name.
We will release
the
the name
future.
when we play your Prelude Adventure, which
Yeah.
will be coming very, very soon to all the patient fans who are eagerly awaiting the rise of the B team. So, thank you for joining us on this very special episode of Jack's character creation for the B team, and we will see how his 5th level human variant monk does. Oh, and also what feat he picks when we have his Prelude Adventure. So
Yep.
that's it.